Hello and welcome to Rocket Pod. I hope you've all enjoyed the first few episodes of Series 1. We've got a huge amount left in store for you, including conversation with world-class speaking coaches, #1 best-selling authors and the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. Of course, my name is Harry Damon and I'm joined today by James Cuss and producer Peter Haynes. And for today's episode, I'm bringing on the mic Rose Dyson. Now, Rose Dyson is the founder of Pura Cosmetics, a good friend of mine, and in 2018 was named as the UK's most promising teen CEO. Rose joins us now. Good morning, Rose. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yes, all good, thank you. So Rose and I go back a few years now when we met through a competition called the TransferWise 20 Under 20. But the reason I wanted to bring Rose on the Rocky Pod today is because she's got an awesome story and how she started her first business, Pura Cosmetics, at literally 15 years old, where she created a small lip balm product in her kitchen and now has scaled and grown this business to UK-wide. So Rose, can you start us off by giving our audience a quick background and give us a little bit of a taste of your story?
Yeah, sure. So it's been quite... it has a nice little story to it. So I was 15 at school. I was in the first year of GCSE, so year 10. And I was the kid at school that got involved with everything. Everyone kind of thought it was quite geeky at the time. And I think friends in school think quite differently now. I was walking into school one day and I saw a poster on the wall saying Enterprise Challenge. And I thought, that's pretty cool. Wonder what that's about. I don't have any family members who have businesses or entrepreneurs. I've got no background to that whatsoever. So I thought, that's pretty cool. Let's see what it's about. So I went to the little meeting for it. And the basis of the competition, it was just a local competition against the schools in the area in Barnsley. And it was start a business with £25 for 6 months, see how it goes, see if you can get something going, take it off. I thought that's pretty cool. And I thought, what can my idea be? I was a shopping mad, obsessed teenager. I loved going to the shopping centre at the weekend with my friends. I was also quite keen at watching YouTubers, as you do when you're 15. The girls that were, the YouTubers that were talking about ethical products, ethics behind stuff and everything like that really interested me. So when I went to buy these products in my shopping centre, they all had a really extortionate premium price tag that my pocket money as a 15-year-old just could not stretch to. So I was kind of forced to buy the products that were not with the values that I wanted. And I just thought that's a really big issue. And I asked my friends, do you think this is an issue as well? Do you think this is something we need to change? And they said, yes, definitely. It would be great to be able to buy and really ethical products at an affordable price point that we can access. So it's all about accessibility, Pura. So I decided to give it a go and started making products in my kitchen at first, my mum's kitchen, and started my own natural, cruelty-free, vegan, plastic-free lip care brand. Started with just lip care products because I didn't want to stretch too far at first. So we're still, all these years later, it's still just with the 2 products. We've just perfected it and got really, really, really well known for what we do and what we do best.
So you really, as a 15-year-old, had that problem, which was the extortionate prices of lip care products, and then created a solution which was a much more affordable, vegan, all that sort of thing, plastic-free alternative that your demographic, your age group, your target audience would be much more appealed to. So you started with this enterprise challenge. Now, that was one competition that you took part in. Now you've taken part in a huge amount of competitions and won a lot of awards. Now, would you be able to touch on maybe a couple of these awards, actually touch on the TransferWise 20 Under 20 and share with the audience a little bit about that journey with that competition?
Yeah, so that's how we met, wasn't it? It was 2018. I just finished A-levels and I got approached to enter the TransferWise 20 Under 20 competition. So TransferWise are they're Europe's most valuable fintech company. So it's all about transferring money online, abroad, a discounted rate, I think. It's quite techie. I'm not the most techie person in the world, but it's all about transferring money abroad really easily, and transactions are really quick. And Tarbert, who co-founded TransferWise, was also the first ever employee of Skype, so he has an exceptional wealth of experience in the field. And they put on a 20 under 20 competition where they were basically searching for the top 20 entrepreneurs across the country who they think are the most promising. And I made it onto the list, so as did you, Harry. We all met up in London, and then we found out that the judges, who included the likes of the CEO of Deliveroo, Will Shu, and lots of really big names who were judging the competition, they were selecting a top 5 to go to Estonia, where Target's from and where TransferWise started, and their office and founding offices there. And I basically made it into the top 5, which was great. We went to Estonia, pitched to Target, just had 5 minutes, a 5-minute pitch, 5 minutes of questions with him, and later that day I ended up winning, which is amazing. And I won mentorship from Tava and the other judges in the competition, which is amazing, and also a £10,000 no strings attached angel investment from him.
Now, you spoke earlier about the Enterprise Challenge and these competitions. Now, all of these come down to a decision, whether it be a decision to enter, whether it be a decision to even start your cosmetics company at the beginning. And a lot of people generally will have an idea or will want to do something, but never actually make that decision to actually do it or start. So would you be able to maybe share what probably is the biggest decision that you've made so far and why?
I definitely think taking the plunge to move into the premises, so where we are now, where I'm filming this from today, it was a big, at the time, because we weren't as big as we are now, it was quite a big decision because I had no work-life balance. It was literally everywhere you look in my house. There was products, there was stock, there was everything everywhere, and it was driving me and my mum insane, to be honest. So having a little HQ where I can go to work and have that balance, which is great. I can take on staff, which we needed to do, bring clients here, have somewhere to bring clients to, and they can see exactly what we do, which is amazing. Our wholesale clients, just business people in the area, just show them where we go, how we do everything is amazing. And obviously it was like increased costs for us. When you have premises, it's a lot of responsibility, but taking that plunge was probably the biggest decision I made, and I'm so glad I did. Also the choice of deciding whether to go to university or not, but I just definitely knew a year into A-levels, I mean, I fell out of love with education, to be honest. I was really, I was very academic, and I got A's and A's at GCSE. Went to quite an academic sixth form, and I just fell out of love. I just fell in love with business. I got a C in business at A-level, but I don't know how that happened, but obviously it's a practical thing to do is amazing as well for the experience. And that was quite a big decision because I would have been like the first. My dad was quite keen for me to go to university and get a proper job. Don't think I'll ever have one of them. So that was quite a big decision as well. But I'm so glad that I just trusted my gut with everything I've done and just gone for it and given it 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting in terms of your decision regarding university, and that you actually knew that you didn't want to go to university and that you found your passion for business and that was the route you wanted to take, even though your family, your dad, was saying that you should go to university. And actually that decision of what to do after college is something that quite a lot of people do struggle with. For me, I went to look at a couple of universities, but I realised that I didn't want to do that wasn't for me. So you then decided to do that apprenticeship, which allowed me then to continue my business alongside. So I wanted to move on to my next question, which is around lessons. Now, could you share with the audience what is probably the biggest lesson that you have learned from your business journey so far?
Every day is a lesson. There's always a lesson every day. I think there's quite a few key things of, it's quite a difficult question, but having a really, really strong website, because it is your sort of storefront and place for the world, I guess, to see, and having just, I think, the strength of the brand, how it can take a long time, but having a really good strength of brand and knowing what you stand for and having transparency and being super clear is like a very, very, very big challenge that has took time, but we're getting there. I definitely think we're on the right track with that. And I kind of guess, I mean, my website before the one we have now was very basic. I was just explaining to Peter how it was. I took the photos myself. It was very basic, and obviously we do e-commerce, but so it is important to have a website. But just in general, having that really key feature to a high standard as possible and keeping on top of that has been probably a really strong thing. And also social media, because of our target audience for the products being the younger generation, sort of the 16 to 25-year-olds, that Gen Z category, having been able to speak to them really clearly through social media, communicate, everything like that is probably one of the biggest, one of the biggest building blocks, I say, of Pura. All sorts of things though. We've had disastrous, we had one year, I remember, when we tried to have some makeup bags made and it didn't go very well. All sorts of stuff, just supplier problems, all sorts of stuff. But choosing the right supplier is, again, a big part, because it's your whole supply chain at the end of the day.
Yes, and you'll be managing sort of that whole process. And actually, kind of to touch on that, when you do start out in business, especially when you're very first starting out, you do have to do everything. You're managing the accounts, to fulfilling orders, to, like you said, doing the photography. Would you be able to actually touch on that subject, to maybe share how you manage that and how maybe it's changed from when you very first started out to where you are today?
Yeah, you definitely have to be a jack of all trades. To some degree, I do feel still like a jack of all trades. I would definitely say, obviously, like I said, I was doing everything from the sales to the marketing to running social media to manufacturing the products myself, trying to deal with all that. The manufacturing side is a big part. How I've kind of dealt with that is, it has been quite difficult, I'd say, because obviously when I took on staff, I was so used to doing everything myself and being mega busy all the time, which I love. I absolutely adore being busy. But having to sort of let go and delegate those tasks to them, I was checking every single lip scrub that was made, making sure they were perfect, because I am such a perfectionist. And that's probably what's got me here today in terms of the product's quality. So I kind of think delegating and having to let go of tasks, and just, I'm so glad I have done now, obviously, because we've got an amazing system and logistics going on here. But at first, to a degree, I observe everything that goes on here, obviously, and I do feel, because it is your baby, your business is your baby, and letting go is quite difficult, obviously. But I'm so glad I have now, and it took a bit of time, but I'm more relaxed. I really trust that we've trained our staff up to be absolutely amazing, very versatile as well in the jobs and tasks they can do. So I'm quite glad. Yeah, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, it's when it's yours, isn't it? Yeah, it's your little baby. You've grown, like, everything, you want to be perfect, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It is your baby, and it is your life. Like, I definitely feel like I do something for Pura every single day. Without fail, I'm always working. I always am checking emails. You never stop. I don't think I've watched telly in the past couple of years. But do you know what I mean? It's you just do everything for it, and I think it's the whole thing of being an entrepreneur and living and breathing the business. That's definitely how I definitely fit into that category.
Yeah, and you found your passion, so probably most days don't actually feel like work for you because you're doing something that you enjoy, something that you love.
No, it just feels like fun. It's always, I still feel in a way that I'm just doing that little project at school that I started on, just on a bigger scale, and it never feels like work. Long hours, but it's just fun. It's really
very inspiring listening to your story. So your Pura Cosmetics brand, you mentioned accessibility, which is a big part of what you were doing, and also you've kept things really simple. So can you comment around, is the accessibility piece going to stay with the brand, and keeping it simple? Is this part of why you think you've been successful?
Definitely. I always think about why Pura came about and why it exists today, and it's definitely about being accessible for young people in terms of like suitability, so they're vegan friendly, vegetarian friendly, everything like that, and the price point. It's the whole reason for why we exist. It's our entire purpose is to provide that ethical alternative at a really affordable price point, but also making it really fun. So if you go on our website and look at our social media, it's so vibrant and fun, because when people think ethical and eco-friendly, kind of think quite green, brown and boring, etc. Potentially a bit boring anyway. And but I wanted to spin that on its head and make it really vibrant, fun, appealing for the target audience, so that we're really proud to be seen with our products. yeah, it's the whole point of why we exist, and it'll always continue. We're really transparent. We do quite a bit of behind the scenes stuff on our social media, so our customers can come into this journey with me and see the business grow. And I'm really pleased that we've got some really, really, really loyal customers that have been there right from the start and they've seen it grow. So definitely, and with that as well, we always talk to our customers, and we do the lip care products today, and that's what we've got really well known for and what we've dedicated all these time to getting the best at. We are looking to expand into other products, but we will always do what they want. We ask for what they want to see from us, because there's no point if just going off our heads. So asking them their opinion on stuff. Yeah, accessibility is everything we're about. So it will always be that way, because that's why we exist.
I'd like to take this moment to introduce to you our sponsor, Flexi, the must-have app to track and manage your subscriptions in one place. So most of us have multiple subscriptions nowadays for things like streaming services, gym memberships and food deliveries. These are great and take the hassle out of buying everyday products that we consume regularly, but it can be hard to keep track of them. That's where Flexi comes in handy, using super secure technology to connect your accounts to see all your subscriptions in a single dashboard, putting you in control of your spending. And what's more, Flexi's subscription marketplace allows you to discover new products you may love, all easy to pause, resume or cancel in a swipe or two. So give Flexi a try. It's free to download from the App Store, or check out their website at www.flexyapp.uk. That's FLEXY app.uk. Back to the podcast. So you've spoken a lot about how your brand is ethical, it's sustainable, plastic-free, vegan. Would you be able to touch on this subject and talk about whether this has been beneficial to you in your journey in building this brand?
Yeah, obviously, I don't think they are trends anymore. They are just lifestyle. This is how people should be able to have these options, especially, like I say, young people that are our target audience. They are just going to be such crucial environmental issues that people need to know where they stand when they buy in products. I think we are part of the generation now who really check the labelling on a product, and they want to know if it's cruelty-free and where it comes from, etc. And so that has been it was for me, as being a young person in this sort of generation, it was just a stance that I had to take. I knew this was what people need to have. It definitely has benefited our brand. We can connect with customers who really care deeply about these issues, and it is a really important thing. And I mean, if we, as a small business, are able to be plastic free and provide all these environmental benefits at the price point we can, why aren't the big corporates doing it? Why are they still using single-use plastics, etc.?
So actually, that brings up a really interesting point. So as far as, obviously, you're in business for profit, but you're obviously a purpose-led business. The no plastic, the vegan, all this thing, and then obviously even the accessibility piece, where you're actually providing a quality product for some of the folks that might not have the big budget for the big blockbuster brands. If you had a choice between, I guess, the profit and the no plastic, I mean, this is an ethical dilemma, but I guess, yeah. So how do you view the profitability piece versus your mission and purpose as a business? Because yeah, obviously we know how some of the big corporates operate, but is there anything you want to comment about that? Because that's kind of a very interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah. So I mean, we are definitely a purpose-driven brand with a really strong core purpose. Obviously, profitability at the end of the line is survival and how we're going to keep going. So obviously, it plays a big part, but we have kept things simple when it comes to our packaging. We use recycled glass, aluminium, which are quite reasonably priced materials for us. So yeah, I mean, it is a dilemma. People think, are we not for profit? Are we for profit? We're just purpose-led. We are able to do everything whilst maintaining great profit margins for ourselves and keep the business going, and keep it growing and growing and growing, which is amazing. So I kind of think it's obviously it's the bottom line, which is important, but it is what we can provide and add value to customers and add value to people's lives, and especially the young people starting out their skincare kits, whatever, and their makeup bags. Being able to provide them with a product that is safe for them to use on their sensitive skin, that is affordable for them, which they know is manufactured in a really responsible way, everything like that. Being able to provide that for young people that isn't really totally out there at the minute. The price point for us is our differentiator, I guess. So yeah, being able to provide that for them is a great thing, because that's what I couldn't have when I was younger. So it's a dilemma, but it's important to be purpose-led commercial business. Yeah.
Fantastic. And where do you see the business in 3 to 5 years time, or maybe a 3-year mark, 5-year mark, or 10 years? I mean, I know it's kind of a long way, but what's your vision for your business?
Yeah, I mean, quarantine's been quite great, because obviously we've all been able to take a slight step back and look at plans a bit more and have that time to fully look at where things are going, where things are leading. In 3 to 5 years, the aim is to be the number one provider of lip care products in the UK first, conquer home, reach as many consumers as possible here, and build up our loyalty. We are quite well known up north in this area, but at the minute we are trying to just spread the word around the country, and get really well known in other parts of the UK, Northern Ireland and Ireland, I guess. I would love to be like a household name, like when you instantly think of, what do I go for lip care, I go for this, but also just expand into other products, what our customers are wanting to see from us, and be able to provide more alternatives that are eco-friendly and affordable for people. And then look to Europe and look to the rest of the world, I guess, exporting, again, just reaching as many consumers as possible and being that household name. That's the aim for us.
That's a fantastic vision. So another thing that's kind of I'm thinking about. So the beauty industry, from what I know, I mean, I'm not in the industry, but what I've picked up on through my travels has been that it's quite a secretive industry, and it's quite cliquey. It can be. So, and you also mentioned, well, the social media piece is obviously a big part of how you're doing your marketing. This transparency, do you feel that the world, that there's been a shift towards more transparency, and the fact that you're more comfortable talking about your brand, talking about your vision, and not keeping things behind closed doors? Because I guess the social platform, could you talk about the social media platform and how you engage your consumers, or your customers, sorry. Can you comment on that at all? Like, you know, do you see any changes in the industry?
Yeah, I definitely have. I mean, obviously I've only been in the industry for a couple of years or so, but you can definitely see a shift that customers are demanding. Consumers and customers are just demanding transparency. Now it's just a given. They want to know the ins and outs of the products they're using on their face. It is a really crucial thing. So it's something we've always done, and what we agree. Customers are our number one priority. They need to see what we are doing here, and why we are different, and why we are specialists at what we do. So yeah, I think it is just customers demand it now, and I think it's just going to keep going and getting even more gritty, I guess, as the years go on throughout this century. I think it is really important to be able to provide behind the scenes. Me as a founder, answering any questions the consumers and our customers, followers, etc. may have. Also working with influencers, micro-influencers who share the same ethics as us, and they can, they educate themselves on us before using our products as well, and being able to provide that the experiences of our other customers and who we work with, everything like that. Yeah, transparency is crucial, and will always be transparent.
Now, I wanted to just rewind to go back to the kind of the beginning for you, and when you created your first lip care product. Now, there's probably a lot of people in the audience that either have just started a business or are considering starting a business. Now, at 15, you made that decision to create your first lip care product. Now, could you take us back to that moment and share with the audience what it was like to create your very first sort of product and start your very first small business?
Yeah, so I had £25, so obviously I couldn't afford a website or anything like that, but as I do in the generation we live in, I instantly set up social media pages and got them all running. Obviously didn't have a website, so I just I made about 15 lip balms and a couple of lip scrubs, and went to my old primary school Christmas fair and just had a table there and sold them. I think I ended up £4, and I thought it was amazing. £40 profit, and I just thought, oh, I've just turned 25 into 40. And then I can keep going. I was like, I'll put it back in, make a bit more. And then I went to some other like little fairs in the area, like the local little market barn up the road. I used to stand in there on my Saturdays and just sell and tell my story, and people loved it. And I said every time I sold a product, I would be like, please do check us out on social media. Let us know what you think, everything like that. And I was just really confident with it, and just thought, I'm going to give it a good go and see where this goes. And then eventually I did have the funds for a website, etc. Won the competition at school. It was fantastic. And yeah, it was just literally from 15 little products in my kitchen, which were not great, by the way. They were rubbish at first. And they weren't great formula at all, but people were willing to buy them and support me, which I'm really grateful for. And then just perfected it over time, and then started the wholesale side of the business. And obviously our e-commerce side's huge as well. So yeah, it was very gradual for the first couple of years, because I grew it alongside GCSEs and then alongside A-levels, and then I've been full-time with it for around 18-ish months, maybe a bit more. So eventually being able to have that leap and being able, because I had obviously lots of schoolwork and everything going alongside this as well. I was very busy. I know I didn't go to festivals or anything like that with my friends. I was just fully dedicated myself to Pura, and eventually obviously being able to not have anything else in the background, no schoolwork, nothing else, no commitments, and just being able to have my full attention on Pura, being free to do everything. It's just the best day ever. Yeah, and obviously being able to do stuff like opportunities and experience that I never thought I'd be able to have. I mean, who can say they've been on BBC Business News or BBC World News at the age of 18 or 19 just. It was pretty awesome, and be able to meet people I never thought I'd be as well, which is pretty cool.
Almost a bit of delayed gratification, you know. If you put in the time early on, then you know the idea is that hopefully you'll get, you know, if you are able to delegate. You mentioned that letting go is, I think, a big part of growing a business, isn't it? Because you're, like you said, you're very obsessive. You know, normally you get your hands into everything, and then it's just like letting go and having other people have a bit of autonomy and do it on your behalf is kind of a strange thing. But so what was your childhood like? So like really when you were really young, what can you describe a little bit about your upbringing? And also, would you describe yourself as a rule breaker too? So I know you bucked the trend after A-levels, but it'd be nice to hear, just for our listeners, you know, those folks that Harry said that, you know, might be, you know, plucking up the courage to do something, or, you know, is there something you can kind of just talk about your childhood? And, you know, did you have a normal childhood? Is there such a thing?
I think just fairly normal. I'm an only child. My parents are divorced, but I have an amazing mum that took me to lots of clubs when I was growing up. So, you know, when you take things, you know, you do all your swimming, everything like that, and other clubs, arts and crafts, etc. My mum was like, she'll find what she'll want to do, and she'll just stick to one or two things. I wanted to do everything. Our weeks were full on. She would just take me to every class, and I never gave anything up. So I guess that's where my determination comes from. But I wasn't the most confident of little people, of children, really. I was quite shy. And then I've just grown with confidence over the years. And I never thought when I was younger that I'd be able to go and speak on stages and, you know, speak to like thousands of people on a stage, and tell my story and be that confident to do that.
Because you did your one in Amsterdam, didn't you?
Yeah.
How many people was that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe like 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 people. I don't know. It was quite a while ago. But it was, being able to speak on a stage like in Amsterdam at a massive world conference, it was amazing. And being able to be on the news and tell my story and have that opportunity is amazing. And yeah, I fairly just normal childhood. Went to state school. Just always worked really hard at school. Like I said, I was always quite the brainy one. Everyone's kind of said, oh, she's quite geeky and likes to do her work, but yeah, that got to A-levels and then that just switched. But yeah, I was always like a doer at school. I was always wanting to get involved with opportunities, hence why I did the enterprise competition. I've always just gone with my gut and given things a go, and I have lots of passion for the business, so hopefully that shows. And yeah, I always just wanted to do everything and never gave up on stuff. So yeah, I think that's where the determination streak comes from, I guess.
So it sounds like you like to experiment, like you said, like to try new things. So do you get bored easily?
No, not really. I mean, I've not got bored so far. But yeah, anyway, I don't think I'll ever get bored. No, maybe one day. But I don't really get to, obviously there's tasks that I don't find as interesting and as fun, but I just know they have to be done. Obviously when I get to do my creative stuff, like I'll still take Instagram stories and create content myself, even though I've got team members that can do that now and stuff. But yeah, I don't get bored too easily. I just always want to better myself and better the business and grow the business and seek new opportunities, because opportunities don't just fall at your feet. You have to go out there and seek them and meet people, you know, find people on LinkedIn that you really just want to have a 5-minute chat with and see if I could just share a little bit of experience with, if they can share a bit of experience with me, etc. And yeah, I think that just meeting people, all I can say is no. That's what I think. They can always just say no, I've got no time, really sorry, but it's always worth a try. That's what I always think.
So if we could arrange for you to have a coffee with anybody, who would it be and why?
Yes, I definitely know who this is. It's been my same answer for the past few years, and I kind of think it may happen soon. I hope so. But there are two sisters called Hannah and Sophie from Wales, and they own a brand called Spectrum Collections, which is like a vegan and cruelty-free makeup brush brand, massive. And they started it in their garage in Wales. So they're kind of a very similar story to them. And I actually listened to a webinar with them the other day, and I felt so pumped afterwards because they were just so relatable, so down to earth. There was no business jargon and fancy language. It was just straight to the point and very, very real. And yeah, their experience, a lot of people think their brand is an American brand. Their standard is just so high. And just, you know, it's same industry, well, very, very, very similar industry. And just being able to sit with them would be my dream. They have a pink on Carnaby Street, and I'm literally obsessed. Because Carnaby Street is my favourite place to shop, and they just shop, and I just think that is insane. I always look at what they're up to and how they're growing their brand and looking at their social media, and yeah, they're really, really big inspirations of mine. They won the Great British Entrepreneur Award, I think, last year, the main one for the whole country, and yeah, they're the two girls I'd like to meet, and I like that they're sisters as well, because my mum works quite closely with me. She's the best sounding board ever. When it comes to advice and just throwing ideas off at her, she'll always be interested and willing to help. So I'd love to meet them. Maybe it's going to happen. Hopefully soon. Obviously not at the minute because quarantine, etc. But yeah.
Have you spoken over the phone at all, or is it actually you've never spoken to them at all yet?
So when I've met a couple of people at events who have said, I know these, I'll put a good word in with you, etc. I'll try and make the connection happen and the meeting happen, but it hasn't happened yet just because their schedules are so busy, and everyone's so busy in life, aren't they? But yeah, when I watched the webinar with them on the other day, I sent them a tweet basically saying, we use your makeup brushes on every single one of our shoots. I sent them a little picture, and they were like, oh, that's amazing. And I might message them on LinkedIn or maybe something like that and just try and get a little Zoom call because everyone's got time at the minute. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's a quite good segue actually. So you mentioned that the COVID or the Corona situation has been a good time for reflection. How has that impacted your business? And what have been the biggest challenges, and where do you see the biggest opportunities are from being in lockdown the last few months?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's such a good time to be able to reflect on the work on business plans and look at results and look at our data and analytics that we've got going on. I think it has obviously brought about a push towards online. So we're actually on Amazon as well, and being able to put more attention onto those platforms and our online platforms has been a really good sort of motivation, because maybe we always spend a lot of time on them anyway, but even more so now, it's so crucial. Being able to just reflect again and have that time. It's been different because obviously we do a lot of pop-up shops and physical retail, so obviously that's gone out of the way. But yeah, it's going to be a big change for everybody. It already is a big change. I think it will be for quite a while. So just being able to work towards our online a bit more.
That's a pretty good. I think you're right. I think people are being forced online, and you either sit on your hands or you do something about it. And it sounds like you've been very proactive, developing those online channels.
Yeah, we've been really busy, which I'm grateful for, because I might have gone a bit weird and insane. But we've been fortunately really busy with some subscription box orders, etc. Which another thing that I think is going to absolutely go through the roof in terms of our industry. So yeah, it's just life, isn't it? I think people's habits are going to change. I mean, they were already changing beforehand. I think they're just going to change even more so now to online. So yeah, just being able to reflect and have that time to just overlook everything and bring things forward. Before you might have been quite overwhelmed with everything going on, and you don't have that time to relax. For a lot of the time, right at the start, I was just winging it, just winging it with no plans in place, etc. Just going for it and just giving it a go. But being able to, you feel a lot more comfortable in yourself, and it's good to set more targets and aims and reflect on hindsight is a great thing, and reflect on previous successes and sales in the past next however months. So yeah.
So talk about habits. What is your, if there was a habit that you could share with our listeners, do you have a favorite habit that you feel has contributed to your success? Let's just say for our younger listeners, whether that might be something. If there was one thing that they could do that would help move the needle, and I know that obviously life is complex, and there's lots of different habits we have. Some are good habits, some are bad habits. But it's more along the lines of the compound effect. A good habit that you may not have always had it, but something that you kind of brought into your life in the last 5 years that has contributed to your success.
Yeah, I think it has just been, you got to give up your time. You just got to sacrifice that time for a little bit at first and just dedicate yourself 100% constant. I still feel like I'm still constantly on the business every single minute of every day. It's always on my mind. It's quite hard to relax sometimes, but yeah, I think just having that constant, just giving it a go and thinking, well, how can we make this better? How can we do, what could we do? What's the campaign we can do? What can we do for content? What can we do for this? How are we going to improve this? How can we get better than our competitor? How can we do this? I think it's just that desire for more and better in the business and better in the success. I think it is just that constant 24/7, dedicate yourself, be passionate. Things are going to go wrong. Things go wrong for everybody, but just being 100% in it. In the long run, it will definitely work out and be worthwhile. Yeah.
Fantastic. And on that note, obviously not everyone is in that mindset. So have you been able to surround yourself? I know you mentioned your mother has played a big part in your supporting your business early on, but have you been able to surround yourself with like-minded individuals that can kind of get you, understand where you're coming from?
That's what I mean, yeah, with the competitions that I've been able to enter, like being able to be friends with people like Harry, even though we live at the opposite ends of the country, we always just drop each other a message and just think, what do you think about this? Or we'll just have a day in London and go to an event and have a big day of inspiration and just chat through ideas. And we don't even live near each other, and we don't speak to each other every second. We don't speak to each other every week, but there's a person always there. Yeah, being able to be in these competitions with others has been really, really, really great, because at first I kind of thought, am I the only person doing this? Because I didn't know anybody else doing this. Then I found all these people that young people that are doing the same thing as me in similar positions, weighing up the whole university business debate and everything like that. And I think just surrounding people that are in a similar position is great, but also older people who are, experts in the field, just having a little chat with them. And I think, it is being, I did think at first am I just like an oddball? Am I a weirdo? Like, am I just the only person running a business this age? I've got friends across like the country that I've been able to meet in like Ireland as well, and other countries. It's pretty cool to be able just to have that support network of they're just a WhatsApp away. Yeah, I can always ask for advice.
That's really good. But in order for you to create this support network from scratch, entering these competitions has played a role. So, and you obviously took the first step and sold your first product, at a very micro level, and then would you say your vision? Obviously, your vision's probably how would you say your vision's evolved for the business from that very first time you made your first lip balm to now? I mean, I guess it's been a journey.
Yeah, I never ever in a million years dreamed that the business would become what it has now and what it can possibly be in the future, from literally making 15 weird lip balms in my kitchen that weren't very good. Obviously, it was just a bit of fun, and then I think when I was like going through A levels, it was still quite a bit of fun. Obviously, in year 10, I did the challenge. Then year 11 was quite GCSE heavy, so it was still just a bit of a sideline, just a little bit of fun project to work on whilst obviously dedicating a lot of time to studies. It was when I got to A levels where I thought, imagine if I could just do that my whole time and not do anything else. And then I kind of geared myself up to that and was meeting people and entering things and trying to just build up my experience, and thinking like this weekend, I only had one lesson on a Wednesday, and I thought driving all the way to Huddersfield and back is just not worth it for one lesson. So that's why I failed geography. I kind of just thought Wednesdays are going to be a Pura day. I'm going to make my time worthwhile, and then all my teachers were like, "We will see you on The Apprentice one day," or Dragons Den, etc. And they just left me to it because they knew, it's busy times of the year as well. Christmas is our, from October onwards, we are mad busy, and they just knew to leave me alone and just respect what I'm doing. And I just had a little bit of a different path to everybody else, and that kind of stage when I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I know I can do this. I want to have my full attention on it and be able to do everything 24/7 without anything else in the background. And I think that was that stage of when it became more than just a bit of fun.
So you mentioned earlier on that you trust your gut. So I think that's a really good message as well. I know it doesn't. I guess everyone has a slightly different view of as far as validating business plans and all this, but I think that's really inspiring. The fact that you followed your gut. You bucked the trend when you finished your A levels because you wanted to immerse yourself into something you're really passionate about. And I think a lot of everyone's under different I guess peer pressures and the way that things should be done. And that's why I asked you earlier on whether you were a rule breaker by nature, or was this something that you just followed your instincts, I guess, and followed your passion? Because not a lot of people, I think they might not take the same route. So do you have any comments about that?
I think in terms of the rule breaker thing, I mean, I wasn't a bad kid at school. I wasn't like a very naughty kid, but I definitely eventually during A levels I just knew I had this passion. I think it's just instinct. I think as an entrepreneur you naturally have an instinct. If you believe so much in your product and your service, you will just instinctively be able to make decisions. And I just think I've got this and I'm going to give it my best shot. And if I have a bit of a stumble on something, I'll just ask for help, and people can just say no if they want to. So and I've always got these amazing people that I've met through these competitions, and we've got customers. I always chat to customers. They're the people behind the screen sometimes, but we can always chat, and just their support is amazing as well. Being able to have those loyal customers who are really big advocates of Pura and the brand.
Have they helped develop your product, I guess, by engaging them? Do you get a lot of good ideas from your customers?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big part of what we're going to be doing in the next sort of year or so, is looking to them for what products they want to see. So just asking them all the time. We've always asked them for what flavours of our current 2 products, our lip scrub and our lip balm, what they want to see. So we started with 3 flavours and now I think we've got 12. Just seeing what they want to. It's all for them. We want to know what adds value to them and what they want to see. And they have pretty big ideas, so I think we're going to be busy.
One final question from me is, if you could leave our audience with one piece of advice, something that you've taken from this journey you've had so far, what would that one piece of advice be?
I would say be simplistic at first. Keep it simple. Don't overstretch yourself. I could have created masses of ranges of products, but I didn't. I just wanted to be, getting really, really well, and being very, very good at one thing is an amazing place to start. And just you have to do something you're passionate about, because it just won't work, I'm afraid. You have to you have to live, breathe the business 100% and be really, really passionate about what you're doing, your product, your service, and providing the most effective, the best service and the best product. It's just don't give up. So if things are going to go wrong, but don't give up. Persistent. If you are passionate about something, you can make it work. Obviously, for me, there wasn't much startup costs with Pura as well, which was good. So you can try and do something yourself first, and use everything free around you. Contact your local newspaper, tell them what you're doing, get on social media, connect with people, look at publications you could have a chat with and do an interview with. Be willing to do stuff for free. But they are free, lots of free resources out there. And when you can, have a great website.
Actually, and just touching on that subject, are there any resources out there that you've used that you can share with the audience? Maybe some websites, some books that can really help benefit our audience if they're looking to start their own business?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn's a great place just for finding anything. At the minute, there's loads of webinars going on and things like podcasts and everything like that, and just listening to them and taking it all in whilst you've got the time, even if you're just chilling in bed and you can just I always say it's quite good to have a notepad at the side of your bed, because if you're like me and you've got like such an active brain, you can't sleep, just have a little notepad, ideas, or just type it in your notes. In the middle of the night, sometimes you come up with the best ideas and you just think, I need to write that down. I just get everything written down in my notes. My notes are insane. They've got so much content in there, and I always type my ideas down before you forget it, because there's a lot going on when you're in a business. There's a lot of things going through your mind. You're looking at sales, marketing, PR, everything, logistics, manufacturing, a lot. I just say more than ever, there's more online resources out there. Just listen to people, taking their advice, their experiences. I would definitely recommend, if you are in the age category, like entering the TransferWise 20 under 20 at the minute. The applications are open. Year's cohort. I would definitely. It was the best experience I've ever had in my life, and also a factor when that opens up next year. If you are eligible and under 25 for that, it's a great experience just to meet people who are on the same journey as you and learning the same things as you and just connecting. Yeah, I would just say that's a great opportunity as well. There's a lot of competitions out there, but maybe not just for the prize, but just to connect with young people, like-minded people. Yeah,
exactly. It's about just finding those opportunities because there are so many out there.
That's really good. I mean, it's been really interesting learning about your story, your journey. I love the fact that you're, I guess, tenacious. You like to keep, quest to learn more, keep it simple, never give up. It's a really good message. And I think having that attitude, the right attitude to start with, is so important. And you've clearly got that drive and that can-do attitude, and not afraid of failure. It's just taking that first step. So I think it's really interesting to learn about what you've done with Pura Cosmetics. And I think you're going to continue. You will, you can achieve anything you put your mind to. So it's a really good message.
Thank you.
If people want to find and follow your journey, where do they go? Have you got a website, social media, LinkedIn?
Yeah, definitely. So our website is puracosmetics.co.uk. All our social medias are just at Pura Cosmetics, and if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Pura Cosrose, which sounds a bit of a mouthful to say, but it is just Pura Rose. I can't even say it myself. So you can just find me on there on LinkedIn, just Rose Dyson.
Awesome. I mean, sadly, that's all we've got time for. But Rose, thank you so much for joining us on the Rocket Pod today. Thank you for listening to another episode of Rocket Pod. Join us next week, and you do not want to miss it, as we're going to be sitting down with the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, Brad Burton. Of course, thank you to our awesome sponsor, Flexi, who is the mecca for all your subscriptions. Download from the App Store today or check out their website at flexiapp.uk. That's FLEXY app.uk. Check us out on social media at We Are Rocket Pod, and of course, hit that subscribe button. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next time.